Hey there, how you doing? My name's Hagar Paul Hatchard. Yeah, another guy on the internet or person on the internet with a new channel. Effectively, what this is about is I'll start off with this. Is you may have seen a few references on the internet recently about Fat Sapper, the book, my autobiography, the man who fell from a helicopter and took on the banks. Um, Effectively, this is what this presentation's about. I'll do an initial one and you just get a bit of an idea about what's going on. I have been listening on the internet, as everybody has been. In fact, I've been on effectively a private lockdown off grid for the best part of 3 years. At the time of this, which is just coming into April 2023, the reason why I've been off grid is that the authorities seem to have decided, and the banking system, the courts, and the police, that I shouldn't be in business. Okay, so now no home, no family, no £8 million of properties, and no 11 limited companies, 8 of which were active. And I think we're pretty agreed. That's pretty. Although it's a funny nickname I've got, and a rather silly title book. The book is pretty serious in terms of what's been going on. The reason I'm putting this out there now is that I was in court this time last year, and I'm about to go back into Greater Manchester Wigan courts process with a potential contempt of court to be put in prison. It's not really about my military service, the book, which is about 20%, and using those techniques 80% in trying to run as a citizen in the UK over the last few years through effective recession, the austerity period, Brexit, COVID, the Russia-Ukrainian war, cost of living crisis, and I think we're probably going to go into some form of recession or certainly a change in the world order. Okay, so just bring it back down to the level here. So that's kind of why I wrote the book. The book is now published. It's on Amazon. I believe it's with 29,000 distributors around the world. Like it's a UK story, I think it has resonance in all countries, whether you're an ex-serviceman or some people will call them warriors in various countries, and business owners. My appeal out there is to 2.5 million veterans who in the UK have served the country, nation built, and the small medium business owners who've done the same thing as well, and then through the system have been basically told you can't operate. So it's great for the big corporates, and you can see all the mess that's going on with the banking sector at the moment. Okay, so I've actually personally done nearly £16 million of property transactions, £8 million in, £8 million out. UK Companies House have just now, I've just had a correspondence back saying that they will reinstate my businesses because I raised 8 government investigations, of which technically have come to nothing over the years now. And I've just also been approached by a consortium representing, I believe, 30,000 SMEs, small medium enterprise business owners, who've made a presentation to King Charles, and I've just seen evidence of their impact statements that they're now going to the Hague European Court of Human Rights. This all might sound really serious and heavy. Um, okay, I guess it probably is. What I want to do with Fat Sapper, okay, it's a bit of a silly name, isn't it? There's all sorts of connotations, is actually sort of really basically tell what's been going on in business. Okay, remember through COVID we were shut down twice, and there's real estate, because I have had a big experience of real estate. We were denied access to residential units for 6 months and commercial units for 9 months, just in time for all of the lenders to be able to pull the lending. And some of my finance went up between 170 to 270 times the Bank of England base rate. We've just had the lowest cost of money for the Bank of England from 400 years, from what I've been told by various sources. So I've been approached by this consortium who now, as I say, presented to King Charles and now taking it to the Hague. I think it's called Project Hague. I'm not part of it, but speaking to the leaders of that group, including fairly high-placed people and lawyers and establishment figures, you can see the damage that's been going on. And I don't expect any one of you guys to have no home, no wife, no children, none of your £8 million of property, and none of your 8 limited companies like I have. Okay, and you can go on the internet. Land registry's there. So what I'm going to do now is bring this all together into Fat Sapper to basically look at the positive side of things that have been going on in terms of dealing with the authorities. I've been broken into by the police and the ambulance service recently. I think I've had 11 interactions with the police over the last year. Okay, been told had a convenient divorce, put on a government suicide watch. I'm pretty strong and healthy. That's not me, that's the authorities. Okay, so things are pretty much confrontational. As I say, there's 2.5 million veterans out there who are far braver and much more combat experience than I have. I only got involved with four conflicts or wars, if you like. One of the theatres was for 2.5 years, and another theatre for a good year and a half of my life. Okay, just an average guy, farmer's son. But then from that, got a commendation in one of the theatres. Okay, it's in the book. And then the big picture, that's not such a big thing. There's some soldiers out there with some real bravery medals. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it was good. We saved some lives that day. In fact, my particular subunit saved 56 lives. One of my buildings was in the memory of 33 men and one lady killed on my operations, or colleagues of mine that were on operations while I was still serving. Some great people. And that building, amongst others, has now been taken off by the authorities. There's 16 shops in one part of the portfolio where, with £1 million investors' money, they've been handed back for nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean zero. Not 5% below market value or 15% below market value for nothing. I've raised the investigations, including the Fraud Office, the Financial Conduct Authority, Financial Ombudsman Service. And when you look at the fact that of all that, 3 courts, all the damage I've just explained, and they're saying that they now have no authority, and I'm thinking, well, what do we go and fight for? Well, of all these small business owners, these 4 million SMEs who were told, because a lot of them are on the high street, sort of mum and pop singles, what the Americans call mum and pop businesses, small enterprises on the high street, with the cost of living crisis and the cost of the fact that the finances are pulling out. They give you an umbrella when it's sunshine. It's a gorgeous day in a beautiful park up in the northwest of England, where I am at the moment. And then as soon as it starts to rain, it gets pulled. I went into lockdown about 6 months before COVID occurred. I didn't know what the cause was going to be, but I knew that there was a problem with the finance in the UK. Okay, and when you take £3.5 million of investors' money, that must be nearly now worth half of what the portfolio has been. That's all been taken off us. I'm in for a fight, and I'm in for justice as well. This isn't a negative channel. It's not what it's about. People have read the book. I've had it proofread. As I say, it's about dealing with all the challenges over the last few years. This last 2-3 years, assaults, crime numbers. I've had motorbikes drive through shop windows. I've had fueled drivers ram. I've got all the evidence all on my phone, which we've obviously archived for obvious reasons. They're all quite serious type things. People trolling, threatening. I'll just say ex-family members. I'll keep it private at that. So in the book there's a whole bunch of photographs. I've actually put the appendices in the back, so I've got all of the buys and sells. I say it's up to upwards of £15 million plus of going into the projects and coming back out, because it was really clear. And I did call it about 3-4 years ago and said, you know what, there's something wrong with the financial system. And remember, we had such low borrowing costs. What are you going to get now? Yeah, I believe now Lloyds Banking Group are the largest private landlord in the UK. I believe they own half the town that I'm speaking from at the moment. There's no private developing going on. It's all government projects. If that's how our future is, that's fine. But for me, it's a little bit more than this, because I kind of bit old-fashioned. I rather like my country and the people that served in it. People say I had several occasions where I shouldn't have come back, and I've got some good people that helped me. Good commanders. I've had good people in business as well. Okay, some of those people we've lost to friendships at the moment, but they'll come back once the story's out. So we're on the internet now. Funny old thing, within 48 hours my Instagram account was closed down. You can read into that what you want, but Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, they're all good, and I'm just posting items. I've got 12 matrices coming on board, so that includes all the purchases and sales. There's a land registry record there just for the authorities if anybody thinks that it's all a scam. Okay, real buildings, real rent rolls. With a letting agent, unfortunately, he's just walked away and sold up. But worked with them for 12 years. Great legal executive, superb chartered accountants as well. And then now, nothing. Okay, so it's a good cause. It's a good cause. Just want justice. It's not for me, actually. It's for those veterans who deserve better, who've risked a lot, and also for the small, medium businesses. They don't have a voice. Nobody's had a voice. Nobody's listening. And yet you go on the internet. I know there's some funny people on there, but you've got Economic Ninja, you've got Stephen Van Meter, you've got I Allegedly, you've got Neil McCoy Ward. I think he's ex-British Army, I believe. Okay, and they're actually coming out with some great stuff. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's real. And this book, and I've raised a UK parliamentary petition as well, which has been supported. The book's been sent out. So on those matrices, there'll be all the purchases and sales, trading up to COVID, trading through COVID, post-COVID. There's a media piece on there. So Sky, BBC, iPaper, now The Independent have the book. The petition has gone out to a huge group. We need to get 100,000. As I say, I'm facing court in 4 or 5 weeks' time. If there is a technical contempt of court, to go to prison. When you consider that there were 2 people in my business with over 40 years of military experience, serving the property industry and the small, medium business industry for best part of 12, 13, 14 years. Been Landlord of the Year 5 years in a row, Developer of the Year 2 years in a row. I received a mentorship award. I shouldn't be here on the internet saying those things, or something that I did in the military. That's not really what this is about. But when you do those things in any other industry or a sector, you would expect some form of financial success, and yet there's nothing. The banks are pulling out, and the courts, the councils, the police. I've got bullying, harassment statements, there's crime numbers, some pretty serious, heavy stuff going on. And you can see I'm a pretty average guy. I've worked hard at my age. I'm working hard to keep fit and strong. And I'm coming back at this now. I've been off grid for 3 years. If you think it's just me, okay, I've mentioned the 2.5 million veterans, 4 million SMEs. I was lucky enough to work, I've been to 50 odd countries around the world in a previous career. And I've also taught and lectured to people in real estate and small business to many, many countries. Probably over 2,000 people have presented to. They had evidence of all of my work. In fact, that course for a third-party organisation, 3/4 of those deals were mine. That's not what I'm being egotistical about. It's just like it's real. It's all on record, all on file, on audited accounts. 440 of those people, both UK and overseas, then it was a third-party organisation. It was good. It was good. We set up companies for them. We set up limited company bank accounts. There were teams, there were building teams, there were property sources, there was the accounts, there was the surveyors, all set up. They bought, on the back of my training, and other people were doing this, I wasn't alone, over 50, 60 million pounds of UK property that was empty, doing nothing for our country. Their business and mine now, if you take the full value post-development, probably upwards of 70, 80 million pounds. I worked out the other day, we've probably housed, on the basis of my trainings, 3,200 families and small businesses were housed, paying in the thick end of £1 million of council tax and business rates per annum. And yet nobody can get finance. It's all the big boys digging up all the greenfield sites and all the fields. And yet our families, our small towns, our small villages, small cities, the city centres, they're dead. And do you know why? Because the banks are saying that all commercial property, which is one part of whatever I held, is worthless. If that's the case, where are all your pensions being held at the moment? I'm asking the question, aren't I? Okay, so a pretty sort of a comical sort of man with a silly nickname, a silly title book, but a deadly serious mission. I think if you look in my eyes, you can see that this is pretty serious, and I want to bring this to people's attention. And what I'd like to be able to do is to smile a bit more and get our families and our communities back, and get the authorities and the media to start to investigate. I've been really proud that somebody's just contacted me over my book and my petition, and I hope the petition as well. I believe it's Project Hague. It's been presented to King Charles III, and it's now being presented up to the Hague for Human Rights. Some of the things that are going on with individual citizens, there are really good men and women out there, boys and girls, LGBT, woke, BLM, whatever religion you belong to. We all deserve a great world, if it's in small business or in real estate. What I don't want to see is the authorities bullying and harassing people and individuals, especially when they've sacrificed. I made a lot of sacrifices in my personal life and my business life, and I do want that respect back, and I want my companies back, which has just been reinstated by Companies House. And now through the media, I'd like the public petition, the parliamentary petition, to get an investigation to get those people back. There are good people out there, and there are good businesses out here, but I do not want the financial system, the police. You can see the damage with the Met in London at the moment, and all this institutional things that are going on in the piece here. I don't want to speculate. All I want to do is to be real. I want to present that over the next few weeks. I will be releasing the matrices, okay, where the book's been sent to. Okay, we've had replies back from Prince William, Keir Starmer, Andy Burnham, James Grundy, MP, current MP. So I've had both sides of the house, so we're not politically biased. Okay, 100 people. Prime Minister's had it, the Chancellor's had it, and we've had so much turmoil. They've gone to several Prime Ministers and several Chancellors, the Housing Secretary, the Business Secretary. Bookstores have been to media outlets as well. And all I want to do is, when you've built and worked really hard, there's a lot of normal people. We're not talking the big corporates and all the silliness on the internet. There's some good stuff on the internet as well as silliness. Okay, it's just for real people. I want to build people up. When you read the book and you see what's going on, it's all logged. There's diary entries. In the military, have to record everything. I kind of recorded everything in my business as well. And what I want to do is I want to make this more fun. I want to sort of come back up there and go, hey, you know what? That guy did good. You're not on your own. You're in a team. But when you go off grid, I've gone off grid for 3 years. I've gone lone wolf for obvious reasons. And then 2023, I'm just starting to come back to authorities, presenting everything that we've done because it's been off grid. You can read into that as you want. I believe there was a social media a person who's just been released from prison in a foreign country recently. Whether I agree with his genre, I'm not so sure. But what I do pick up on is this word, the matrix, and that's why I produce matrices. So you'll see that information coming out. If the book can help you get through your challenge, it might be personal, it might be health. When the authorities went after me, I was hospitalised with DVT treatment. Okay, I'm a pretty strong, fit guy at the best of times, and you come back from this. And when that happens, you think to yourself, okay, and then your divorce gets classed as convenient, then you get put under a government suicide watch. You say to yourself, this is all a little bit silly. Okay, I've never gone down that route, and I know people who have, and I respect the personal circumstances. And there is a reference in the book to Mike Norcross's suicide. My condolences to his family. The BBC Coroner's report in July 2021, when you look at the financial situation and the circumstances behind it, you say to yourself, this is wrong. And it's going on in the background, and it's a problem with small individuals. You don't have a voice. Okay, I'm allowed to sit on social media unless Instagram decide that free speech isn't free speech, but certainly other platforms. And if you think the book is good and people have read it, I've had farmers, lorry drivers, I've had specialist military teams, I've had MPs read it, royalties now read it, and the feedback I've got, and metro mayors, if it's in business or the military application of some of those skills to come over, they've said, wow, this is a book. The book isn't an ego thing, it's about me, but what it is, it's about other people, helping other people, and saying you can get through these things. Some of the things that have gone in that book, there's photographic evidence, there's 20% military, and then 80% being a citizen. It's about business. It's not about business. It's actually being a citizen. Where's your pension at the moment? Is your pension logged on commercial property in the UK? Really? You might want to have a word with your pension advisor. What's happening to all the loans and your credit? Okay, there are people on media platforms that are highlighting all this. What I want to do is I kind of want to make this real. Okay, the things that are happening. I'm going to be posting the things I'm doing. We were told not to operate, not to open. I wasn't allowed to get access to my buildings when I owned them, when I owned all my businesses. I've got getting my companies back now. I've got a small fleet of vans. I do vans up. Whoopie-doo. Yeah, if you look in there at the things I've done in the military, and I entered into civil aviation career for a couple of years as well, and you go, well, that's all a bit demeaning. We've got a burger round. We do clearances. We do all sorts of little businesses. And what it means is we operate. You come back, you fight, you get off the floor. There's some great quotes in the book. US presidents, military leaders. I've got Muhammad Ali in there, Neil Armstrong, Dale Carnegie. We've got sort of scientists, inventors, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, really, really good quotes to motivate and go, you know what, things go wrong. We've always had this life of utopia, all this and all this world of plenty. We don't have that anymore. We're going to change. It'll come back. It'll come back. So please support Fat Sapper. If you buy a book, it goes to my colleagues, okay, on there. And if you sign the petition, it just means that we can get justice for the individual citizen. We can make the world a better place. We can make individuals stronger, get our families back. We can make business better. We can make it successful. It doesn't need to be greedy and selfish. And the courts as well and the police actions. It doesn't need to be all that nonsense. It can be a force for good. I had a moniker, rebuilding Great Britain and being a force for good. And if you like it, please pass it around. Put something on social media about the book, something on social media about the platform. Okay, so kind of dived fairly deep in there in terms of where I'm coming from, what it's all about. You can go on the internet, you can go on there. I've got all the land registry records. I'm putting all the spreadsheets onto the internet as well, just in case anything goes wrong. You can read into that as you will. Again, as you notice, as I'm coming out at the end of this to conclude, there's a few more smiles on here. Okay, it's been a tough time. We are entering tough times. I think we're going to have more challenges. And again, like a lot of the other platforms, I will make a statement about this, but then I'll go and then I'll put a positive piece on it and go, well, this has happened. We're actually coming over here. And I hope that can be helpful. Fat Sapper signing off, and we look forward to the next video. Thank you.